Here we go.
Mhm.
What is a protein? What is a protein? What's a protein? A lot of questions, a lot of questions, a lot of resources as well. So I encourage everybody to Google that shit. But long and short of it is, I understand why it's confusing.
Yeah.
We were talking about earlier why people misunderstand the value or the importance, I should say, or what exactly is like the core. We went through that in the other episode. There's a lot of uh, content out there that really supports just one understanding, that like being ripped in a six pack and skinny bitches doing Pilates and shit like that. It's like, oh yeah, strong core. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Nobody ever talks about how strong the core is of like the bodybuilders or the strong men
Right. Oh
competitions
gosh.
like that. Like you don't touch those guys. That's great. Their core is nuts, right?
Mhm.
But nobody knows that, and that's okay. I get it. So when it comes to nutrition and the plethora of resources and options that people have, it's even worse because that plays right to um, you know just human nature and their habits and fears and comfortabilities and emotional integrity. That. So it's really confusing. So we get that. So we're gonna hit you with a little bit of both nerdy knowledge and some applications on what exactly the fuck it means to you on a day-to-day basis. So what is a protein? A protein is a molecule that is made up of amino acids
Mhm.
everywhere in the body, not
Literally
just it's in the
everywhere.
muscles, it's in the skin, it's in the hair, it's in the bone and the nails, it's everywhere.
In
Okay,
every cell
every
of
cell.
your entire body.
Yes. All right, that's what a protein is. It's a molecule made up of amino acids. But
So
Chris,
without
what's an amino acid?
oh.
So it's more molecules that are, and together they make proteins. So that's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, proteins are made up of amino acids. Amino acids form to make proteins. Well, what the shit is an amino acid? These molecules are basically the carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen that form together to create this amino acid. Now there are several. It's not several, but there are three main types. There's your non-essential, your essentials. Um, and then what's the other one? I forget.
There's
Conditionally essential,
yeah.
but nobody ever really talks about the conditionally essential. I couldn't even remember it because it's just not popular. Okay, so when you think of what to simplify those guys, okay, how it works is this, and I have to take notes on this to make sure that I don't over nerdy stuff. You eat food. All right, your body breaks down said food into your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats. Right, and then those guys are broken down further. So your carbs turn into sugars, your proteins turn into your amino acids, and the fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, so in terms of energy, your body will burn through the carbs first, and then the fats, and then the proteins, but only after the first two, um, sources have been depleted. Now we'll put together. If you're not subscribed to the mailing list, subscribe to it now because we'll put together we put together some nice analogies and things to help explain kind of a deeper but yet relative understanding of what all this shit
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
Because with over 10,000 proteins, it's hard to really quantify what the hell it means to you, and it's not as simple as saying whey versus soy, chocolate versus fruit.
Mhm.
It's more. It is like Sarah will get into, like, we'll get into it in a minute,
Yeah.
right? About how and what and where and things, but the what part of it is important. I want to make sure that we've gotten that part um, squared away. Okay. But the long and short of it is your carbohydrates are your main source for your energy.
Mhm.
Carbohydrates are not the devil.
No, they're not.
Okay. And your proteins, while yes, of course, everyone understands proteins build muscle. I don't think everybody understands that protein also helps you survive. Without it, you die.
It's everything.
Right. So, with that said, what the hell does that mean to, what does that mean to me? What does that mean to you?
And that's the thing. Almost every single client that walks in with us comes to us online. We take a look at their nutrition, and almost every single time, protein is super low. and carbs and fat are kind of all over the place. But and the
Even for guys.
even I mean, even for guys, literally for everyone. I can't think of maybe 2 clients out of everybody that has come to us in the last couple of years that have been like, "Oh, your protein's actually pretty good." And they'll say like, "I'm killing it on protein. You know, I got like 40 grams a day." I'm like, "That's not killing it."
A
Because
day.
you I know.
It's awesome.
Like that's not doing it. Really, you should be eating protein all throughout the day. Your meals should be centered around a protein. Your snacks should even be protein focused. Things like Greek yogurt. That's my favorite one. But string cheese, things like that that are like naturally high in protein. Um, but here's the thing: anytime you can get whole food versus a supplement, it's going to be better for you in general, right? You're going to have more nutrients. It's coming from the source. That is generally the better option is for it to be whole food, chicken, beef, turkey, fish. It really doesn't matter as long as it's as close to the source as possible and whatever it is you're eating fits within your macros. A lot of our recipes suggest chicken and turkey simply because it's lower in fat. So it's easier to fit into your overall macro balance. But if you like beef and it fits, that is a perfectly fine source of protein. A really good one, as a matter of fact. So supplements like shakes and bars are meant to be exactly that. Supplements.
Supplements.
They're not usually meant to be a full meal. Now, unless you're getting really into it and you're throwing the peanut butter in there and you've got a significant amount of carbs in there and whatever, but 150, 200, 250 calorie protein shake is not a meal. That is a snack. So keep that in mind that while they are a better option than a drive through on the way to work in the morning, they're typically not meant to be full meal.
Hmm.
Um, so with that being said, as far as a protein shake or bar or whatever goes, like I said, it should be spread out throughout the day. And if you're looking at a post workout shake, it should be ASAP after your workout. And we typically suggest a shake over a bar. I know shakes are not always the most convenient to bring with you on to the go to the gym or whatever. But a bar is going to sit in your stomach way longer. It's going to be way more likely to bloat you. It's not going to get to your muscles as quick as you need it right after a workout. It's not going to help you replenish the energy stores quick enough. A shake is going to be your best bet post workout more often than
And
not.
by ASAP, what does that mean?
Like 60 minutes max.
Max.
As close to like,
I would say 45 minutes.
yeah,
You know, yeah.
it is essential that you get all of those calories and carb stores and protein straight into your muscles as quick as you
Why?
can for
What
recovery.
happens after that? I guess. Why would people need to know that? And this goes back to planning, like
Mhm.
not going to get your workout in, and like it's not like you're going to die at the 61st minute.
No, not at all, but you're gonna have the best, muscle recovery, the muscle synthesis where they're building the new proteins and the building blocks that actually help build your muscles bigger, which essentially then helps make your
But that doesn't
metabolism
mean you're
faster, all
going to
things.
bulk.
No, definitely not.
I think you say makes your muscles bigger. That will terrify everybody who says, "Will protein make me bulk?"
Well, if you're
See,
looking to
shit like that, people get confused about.
that
Be a
doesn't
part of
make
the
you bulk.
solution. Be a part of the solution. Some bitch.
Building muscle does not equal bulk, okay? That's not the case. But in any way, and when you're working out, you're essentially putting little tears in your muscles, right? And what repairs those tears are the proteins and the carbs and all those building blocks getting into them to rebuild the muscle tissue so that you can recover quicker. So the longer you wait, the tougher your recovery is going to be and the less likely that you're going to be resynthesizing that protein as quickly as you really should be. Um so in that shake, 20 grams of protein at least, 30 to 50 grams of carbs, depending on the intensity of your workout. If it's super intense, you need to go higher on the carbs right after just to make sure that those stores are replenished. And 0 to 5 grams of fat. Really, you should be avoiding fat after a workout. It slows down absorption of nutrients, which throughout the rest of the day is great. So throw fat in with your protein all throughout the rest of the day. But right after workout, like I said, we want to get that stuff into your muscles as quick as possible. So we don't want to slow the absorption down. And also it just makes you more sluggish and that's not something you need right around a workout.
Imagine for those of you who have kids, and You know, if it's like playtime or you have a play date, kids come over, right? Like they're gonna tear up the fucking house,
Yeah.
right? And unless you and like if you're like me and you're okay with mess all over the place because that's just the way we live. So don't judge me. Go fuck yourself if you judge me because all of y'all got dirty shit too. Get out of here. Don't. If you got kids, you got a dirty ass crib or a room or something. Don't play with me. Everybody has them, okay? But let's imagine you have a play date. Kids come over and they just fucking straight thrash. Let's just say like your playroom used to be nice and organized, and now it's no,
Everything's
it's a
on fire.
disaster,
Yeah.
right? You're gonna clean it up eventually, but
Mhm.
you know that if you don't do it now, you're never gonna get it done, right? Or it's gonna take forever to do, and you may put some pieces away, but it's never gonna look the way you really want it to look
Mhm.
because you didn't do it when you should have, right and then and there. Will it be functional? Will you have a pathway to get in and around the room? Probably, sure.
I
But
just go like this.
really, if it was intended to be if you moved into an empty room, its potential is to be nice and clean and strong and empty and just clean walls, da da da. Right? So if you clusterfuck a room up, that would be the workout.
Mhm.
And ideally you'd want it to be back to its form and things. You want to, right, get it to be cleaned up. The best way to do that is to do it as soon as possible
When
before
it's
life gets
fresh.
in the way
Mhm.
and you kind of forget to do it. And then you're just all of a sudden left with
A neglected
saggy
mess.
ass fucking messy rooms and your shit, you know what I mean? And then eventually it's like the room never gets clean
Uh-huh.
and you're just left with a dirty ass room
Yeah. And you know
or
what?
weak underperforming muscles and you never understand why. Kids are happy,
Yeah.
but the room itself
It's sad.
has taken a donkey ass punch. Clean your room.
And it might not be convenient to clean up right away. Like, I got stuff to do. I don't care about this stupid mess. I could easily walk by it like this
Mhm.
for the next 2 weeks and not care about it.
Mhm.
But you have to do it. And same with protein shakes. Maybe it's not super convenient to bring a Ziploc baggie of protein powder and throw it in a shaker right after your workout, but it's essential.
Mhm.
Um,
And I can, oh, well, I'm not gonna. I mean, some folks. I used to do it.
mhm,
You take your like you blend your shakes at the gym.
mhm. I still do that.
Um, you know what I'm saying? And this was before there were like Blendijet, Nutrijet,
I've
all
seen
that
those,
other
yeah.
stuff. But stuff like that has made it convenient to do. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that is
Don't
not
act
it's
like
not
it's the first
difficult.
time you have some battery operated shit in your purse. Fuck out of here. Get out of here. I mean, come on. Am I lying, ladies?
Well, that
Magic Mike
maybe
your ass to the kitchen and hook yourself up, girl. Fix yourself, girl.
maybe those
Please yourself later.
see, that's why purses end up 10 pounds. 'Cause of the belt blend.
That if that doesn't make the all-star B-roll, I don't know. You know what? You go, girl. Do your thing. Dirty Merkel,
Oh.
my man. She's over here like, that's why my purse is 10
I didn't say my
pounds.
purse, look at mine, it's like 1 pound.
Mhm.
Anyways.
Must be travel size. Fucking with them triple A's. You so damn stupid. Okay, stay on track. Right
Okay,
now,
okay, okay,
people
okay.
were listening and
I
getting it, and
know.
they're just like, "Wow, he's
But
really talking about me." And then you come on with that shit, and you're like, "Wow, she really talking about me."
Ah. Okay, here's another solution. You could blend your shake at home, and I do this all the time too. If you like, throwing the fruit in there, the frozen banana and the ice cubes and whatever, put it in a Yeti, and that stuff will stay frozen all day long. Like, I blend that sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's still good at 1 p.m., because I don't take my own advice and drink it right away. But that is also a way to make it more convenient.
Now, I don't like doing that because of the froth,
My
but
it
I make my shakes that way. So sometimes there's that
mm,
extra like froth. Ugh,
mine
that I
don't
don't do.
mine
But
don't get frothy.
whatever. To each their
Whatever.
own, I guess.
Yeah.
But the point is, there's ways to
There's way
combat
around
and
the
satisfy the
inconvenience.
need to get that shit in after a workout, 45, 60 minutes at the most.
Right.
Otherwise, you just start getting hungry
And then,
and your
oh,
workout becomes, I don't want to say detrimental, but you tore tissue. Uh, you
and
know,
it's not getting fixed.
it won't, it'll underdevelop.
Yeah.
It needs to be repaired. It's like, why bother doing it
Yeah.
if you're not going to, you know what I mean?
That's a good point. And and the shake still counts towards your macro goals. So
Hmm.
make sure you're logging that stuff, okay? Um, Now bars are a different beast. I mean, kind of, but not. They're they're much easy. It's much easier to find a junk bar than a junk powder because when you walk into a gas station to buy a protein bar, we were just talking about this. Where do you find them?
Candy aisle.
By the candy bars. And some of them are essentially that, a candy bar with a
Or the
couple grams of
aisle
protein
that's
in it.
like trying to be
Healthy, but it's not.
healthy. It's
Mhm.
like you have those what is it, Metrex? What are
The
those?
Met RX
Yeah,
bars?
you have those bars right next to the Cinnamon Toast Crunch bar.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. Come on, dude. Really? Okay.
That's yes. All this stuff that's
Have I
marketed
eaten those? Yes. You're damn
absolutely,
right I have.
but they don't belong by the protein bar. They're
No.
not the same.
Well, I, I it's the same concept as meal replacements
Yeah.
and things like,
Again, bars are supplements.
yeah,
They're
you're on a
snacks.
road trip. If you're on a road trip and you pull out your silver bullet and and you blend away and you do your thing, you're on a road. Like, where are you gonna? You're not gonna rinse it out, so that shit's gonna
Well,
stink like
ugh.
holy whore water. You know what I mean? So I get it. You don't want to pull up. Cool, cool. Then maybe a bar.
Is a better idea.
Sure, sure. But
Or you
for right now, we're talking about. I get my workout in.
Mhm. Mhm.
Let's repair.
Yep.
Let's rip and repair.
And just like anything else, you guys, the some are gonna be better than others. Like, there's a reason that you're looking at 2 proteins. They both have 30 servings in them. One is $10 and one is 60. Like, there's a reason for that. The ingredients are not gonna be as you get what you pay for just like anything else. The ingredients are not gonna be as quality. The protein sources aren't gonna be as quality. There's gonna be more fillers in them. There'll probably be less protein in the cheaper ones, more carbs and more fat, which we just talked about how to even work those in around workouts. But a really good rule of thumb is that the protein should be at least 20 grams like we talked about.
Least.
At least. I mean, 20 to 30, 25 to 30 is really more ideal. But 20 at the absolute least. Carbs should not typically exceed how much protein is in there
And
because
mind you, we're not registered
no, we're
dietitians.
not. Mm.
Okay. The reason why it should be around that is an average absorption rate per person.
Mhm.
Right. If you're trying to bomb a protein shake or a protein focused meal,
Mhm.
I don't know however you want to call that, but
Yeah.
if you're gonna swallow protein, if you're trying to get in like 50 grams worth, unless you're a pro bodybuilder whose body justifies that kind of absorption, you'll just end up shitting it out.
Yeah.
Heavy constipation, especially if you're low in the fiber. You know what I'm saying? So on average, and this is something if you have a dietitian, go in and double check what your absorption rate would be,
Mhm.
and they'll tell you. But you know, not for nothing, it'll be between 20 and 25
Mhm.
per meal.
Yep. Post-workout, those fats should stay low, like less than 5. Other than that, fats should really not exceed 10 grams of 10 grams of fat per protein shake. Minimal added sugar because you just don't need that. That's when it starts to become a milkshake more than a protein shake. But other than that, the ingredients list, it's just like anything else. It shouldn't take up the entire side of the bottle or the entire side of the can. And if you really want to get into some post-workout stuff, you can look for proteins with some of those amino acids already in them that will aid in better recovery, quicker recovery. If you're on the go, sometimes there's a lot of ready to drink protein shakes. And again, though, you have to be super careful with those, just like you would be with bars. A lot of them are loaded in junk. It's gotten a lot better over the last couple years, I will say, because I'm like a nutrition label freak. And I used to roll up to the gas station for one, and it would be hard to find one that wasn't loaded in sugar, and it seems like the industry has kinda caught on to that and has let go of that a little bit, but you still need to be mindful of how much added sugar is in there, making sure that the protein's at least that 20 to 30 gram range. Anything less than that, they're just throwing the word protein on it for fun. It's not really a protein shake. Um but those are just some general rules of thumbs to follow. So, post-workout, immediately, as quickly as you can, 45 minutes max. The sooner you can get it to the end of your workout, the better.
I think another general rule of thumb with label reading is if you look on the back of the box or tub or can or whatever it is
Mhm,
you're drinking, if you if you and I can't take credit for this, I learned I was taught this several years ago. If you can't identify let alone pronounce the first 4 ingredients. Put that shit back.
Mhm. That's when you get into the fillers like we talked about. Like, the first couple ingredients are things like whey protein isolate, cranberry protein, pea protein, things that, like, are like, well, duh, that of course, that would be in a protein shake. Um, but when you start I couldn't even, like, think of one off of the top of my head because you look at it and you're like, "What the heck is that?" Um, so that's a good point too. Watch labels, make sure there's an ample amount of protein in there, make sure it's not loaded in fat and sugar.
If why do you think people are women in particular, like, what is with the stigma of bulking up? Why are they so afraid of this? I'm
Because
sure there's a level of, lack of education behind it and
Mhm,
awareness, and again,
for sure.
it's only put out there on social. The content is there to, protein female ingestion of protein is either that the skinny Pilates bitch or
Mhm.
the crazy CrossFitter that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, for you know what I'm
People
saying?
think that they're gonna end up looking like a dude. Like, they see all these, big saying protein, protein, protein.
And that's cool. Yo, if that's you, fine.
Mhm,
Okay? But, that's like the body, like, if you're a stocky female, it's because you're lifting that way and your body requires that sustenance to maintain that. That's your performance.
yeah, when you see that, especially
You
on
know what I
females,
mean?
that was extremely intentional.
And you can lose weight. You will lose weight on it. Like this goes back to the episode that we did about the crash dieting and
Mhm,
such. Like, being in a caloric deficit and adaptive thermogenesis, aka starvation mode, which
mhm.
which there's so much, like the arguments you read online about is crazy. Like starvation, when we say starvation mode, it is. I mean, I guess technically that's not a thing
Mhm,
in a science book. That's more. This is what we experience, and it's how it relates to your performance and you storing fat calories and such, and what happens when you don't have the appropriate and intended fuel sources being carbohydrates and fats available. Like protein is not a good fuel source at all,
mm-mm,
at all. Its job is to keep you alive and repair cells.
mhm.
Can it be used for fuel? Of course it does. I mean, you're alive long enough, right? But
Right.
but when you think about it, when you see that performance online, and if you're trying to lose weight, don't be confused by seeing that and think, well, shit, if I eat my protein, I'm going to look like that. I mean, you have to lift a lot and really hone down if that's what you're trying to do. But you really got to buckle down regardless if it's weight loss anyways. And make no mistake, you need to get your protein in.
Yeah.
You have to.
I mean, protein's like the building blocks where the carbs and the fat are what's fueling the actual building,
You go
right?
if you were to Google what is protein and why is it important to me right now, you will see that exact statement. Protein and amino acids are the building blocks of life. Guarantee it. Somewhere in that search within the first 2 or 3 tabs, you know how they put you search it and then it
Mhm.
says, "Did you mean?" Because usually if it says, "Did you mean?" for me because I spelled something wrong. So, it'll be in there like they're the amino are they're the building blocks of life, and it's because of how their part in cell reparation and digestion.
Yep. I learned that in biology class.
So,
'Cause it's in everything,
it's
right?
not yeah,
It's in everything. Protein is in every single cell, which is responsible for every single bodily function from the way that you breathe
bone
to
density,
yes.
females, this is your nails and hair we're talking about. Collagen is
Mhm.
one of the types of protein.
Mhm.
And I'll put that shit in the email too. Like, it's crazy when you look at it, it's like, "Oh, God, really?
Yeah.
Shit," you know what I mean?
Hormonal proteins, when you start talking about acne and, all sorts of like, that's made up of proteins, right? So when some of those functions are off, um, it goes back to that also. I think too, a lot of times people protein tends to, like, feel heavier when you eat it sometimes,
Mhm.
and so I think that feeling of the, like, dense food makes people feel that bulky
That's
type of
prob
way,
and the same with the bars. Protein bars, they may make you feel weighted down,
like a
kinda like,
rock in
yeah,
your
you got a
stomach.
brick in your yeah, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
the downside is if you're just taking a protein shake out of, uh, desperation I don't wanna say what's the word I'm looking for here? Like, if you're not sure and you're
Just,
just bombing
like,
shakes and you're getting
obligation.
bloated and stuff, it's not the it's the protein shake's fault, but it's just because your body's disagreeing with something in that, and the bloating is something that can happen. May not be a lactose issue, but sometimes the protein value is just shit,
Yeah, those fillers.
and it bloats you, which
Mhm.
is good because that's your body's way of saying, "This is not the one, honey. Give me
Yeah.
something better." Right?
Absolutely, you gotta listen
So
to those cues.
those are things to consider. So you get a protein bar, you may feel blocked down. You get a shitty protein shake, and it's gonna be running out of you.
Mhm,
But that's isn't that the fight? I mean, that's the downside to the nutrition portion of your fitness journey is it's
mhm.
always gonna be like that.
Yep, you're always gonna have to find what works and what doesn't, and just be really aware of what you're fueling yourself with and what that how that shows in your physical self, whether
Mhm.
that's your workouts or how you feel after you eat it or what happens to your skin as a result or your digestive issues or whatever, right?
And we'll put together in that email what the types of the proteins and those analogies and really go into and explaining, um, what they are so you can put it together yourself and see if what we've said isn't hitting home. Um, then, supplement it with what we're
Good one.
supplement it with what we're gonna send out, and then, hopefully that'll help kinda piece it together for you.
Yep,
Yep.
that's protein.